Today's top stories at NBR: no ability to extend infamous Kiwi businessman's lengthy ban, investment in Kiwi biotech company, the independent Kiwi advertising agency that's made a splash, and there's more coming right up. Kia ora and welcome to NBR Today, 100% subscriber funded and proudly brought to you by you, as is every story at nbr.co.nz. It's Thursday, April 14th. I'm Paul Brennan. Thanks again for joining us. Wellington-based investment manager Morrison & Co. will acquire ASX-listed telco networks company Unity Group for Australian $5 per share through a consortium alongside Brookfield Infrastructure and Commonwealth Superannuation Corporation. Unity is involved in construction and wholesaling of telco fibre infrastructure in Australia, as well as retailing telco services. The company informed the market on March 29 that it had received the Australian $5 bid from Morrison & Co.'s consortium and has now said the parties have signed a scheme implementation deed. The offer values the equity of Unity at about Australian $3.62 billion. Unity's managing director and CEO Michael Simmons and other senior executives will be entitled to receive their consideration under the scheme as shares in the acquiring entity, MBC Bidco Pty Limited. Simmons owns 4.7 million shares in Unity. The official assignee had no ability to extend infamous Kiwi businessman Mark Briers' lengthy ban on being a director or manager of a company in New Zealand after it expired last month. But it says that if new information arose separate to his initial ban following the high-profile collapse of Blue Chip, then a further prohibition could be considered. Briers was in March 2015 discharged from a 5.5-year bankruptcy in New Zealand after he was personally bankrupted in 2009, owing $230 million. This debt was unrelated to the Blue Chip group of companies, which collapsed in 2008, owing $84 million to more than 2,000 investors. The official assignee sought conditions for his discharge, and the High Court at Auckland heard accusations Briers was running a group of accounting firms in Australia, where he had lived since 2006, contrary to New Zealand law. That group also collapsed, owing creditors millions of dollars. An investment led by former Morrison & Co. Chief Executive Marco Bogiewski and Sir Stephen Tyndall's investment arm K1W1 in local biotech firm Picter will see the Kiwis partner with a US laboratory to use its test that allows people to see what kind of antibodies they have in the fight against COVID. Picter is a Parnell-based firm offering in vitro diagnostics that test complex and infectious diseases for human and animal health. With COVID-19 the headline cause at the moment, the funding round's $8.8 million will allow the wider dissemination of Picter's Pic-Array antibody test. The test used in COVID is unique in that it separately measures antibodies from vaccines as well as from infection in one test. More technically, it detects if a patient has antibodies from a previous infection of COVID-19 or from vaccination alone. It also indicates whether at-risk patients have failed to mount a detectable antibody response despite vaccination or infection. The test will be picked up by Ohio-based Mobility Health, which runs mobile testing and a lab with accreditation for 43 states, including California and New York. The NZX regulator says sharply increased trading volume in Vector shares ahead of its announcement on the multi-billion-dollar review of its metering business was due to index rebalancing. On April 6, Vector disclosed several unsolicited approaches from highly credible organisations interested in investing in its metering business and said it would begin a strategic review. Analysts estimate the business, which installs smart meters and sells the data to power retailers, is worth billions. In a research note published on April 11th, Forsyth Bar analysts Andrew Harvey-Green and Mark Robertson said a December deal in Australia for metering business IntelliHub implied an enterprise value for Vector's metering unit of $4.2 billion. The firm raised its target price for the company's stock from $4.10 to $4.45 and upgraded its outlook to outperform, citing a range of factors including the potential metering sale. An independent New Zealand advertising agency that's made a splash with celebrity-crammed Super Bowl ads has used its growing global acclaim to open a London office. Special Group, founded 14 years ago in an old movie theatre in the Auckland suburb of Kingsland, with 3 creatives, 1 desk and no clients, will open its UK office this week to complement another 5 in LA, Melbourne, Sydney, Auckland and Wellington on the back of a growing global reputation. Joining the NBR's Dita DeBoni was Special Group founder, CEO and COO Tony Bradbourne.
We look at a business problem and then we'll approach it from a PR lens or a design lens or an advertising lens. And so that's proven to be highly effective. Being ranked number 4th most effective agency in the world is proof of that. So what we offer is ambitious creative thinking, incredible strategy, insights, real passion, and work that is proven to be more effective.
Special Group founder, CEO and COO Tony Bradbourne with the NBR's Dita DeBoni there. The full details of those stories and more are at nbr.co.nz right now. Coming up at NBR, in his regular On the Money column Friday, Brent Sheether looks at property investment returns in the superstar cities versus provincial towns. While on Easter Sunday, Neville Gibson's weekly book review looks at the bitter legacy of the Cold War's psychological scars and how that has shaped Putin's current actions. I'm Paul Brennan. Join me over the weekend for NBR This Week and again from Tuesday for another NBR Today.